I was really just talking about the dogs. Possibly trying to start stuff. I don't know.
I think it's okay for right now. For that now. For that. Yes.
You don't want to hang out with them no more because they got the acting, huh? So,
Oh yeah. We got work to do. We got works to do. Feast of Dedication Part 2. We have works to do. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Let's pull up this GNT ski. Man, as y'all come in here, drop something in the chat so I know who all in there. You know, I like to get real personal. Said Israel Baya Shalom. I don't think I ever met you before. We got Mark Twain. Kalao. Shalom. I don't think these are some new unfamiliar. If y'all have been here, pardon my memory. I don't remember y'all. But Shalom, I'm glad y'all here. Shalom, I'm glad y'all here. Let me bring up Officer Ron. Yeah. So you know these lessons that we doing this week, you know, all of them are gonna be long. This one definitely will not be long. We gotta jump off here shortly. Okay, you was here yesterday. Okay, all praise to the Most High. Okay, Con. I'm going off. But let's see what we got.
no.
Look at this. You can help Holocaust survivors in Israel with food relief. This is madness. Ah! They ain't even. Ooh, fuck they Holocaust. I gotta say it. They ain't go through nothing. We went through. We had the real Holocaust, and the fact that they said, you know, you can help us, the Holocaust survivors in Israel with food relief, and y'all ain't go through nothing. We have the real Holocaust. That's madness. Where's our help? Right? Where's our food relief? What? See, this is why we say FAWP. FAWP. If you know, you know. I got all of this, man. So yesterday, we dove into First Maccabees chapter 2. We read through this, but then we was kind of at a strain for time, and we didn't want to just run through this the wrong way. So we was like, okay, we want to go through these accounts. So we kind of chopped it off at an hour, but we do want to. Let me change this to the KJV. That's what I'm gonna do.
All right, Salaki, I'm here.
Kind of praises. And so day one, I put part 2. Day 2 of Feast of Dedication has just came to an end where I'm located. So I am actually running behind. I'm running behind schedule. You gotta forgive me. You know how life is. I got called into work unexpectedly, so that's why I had to do the land. This part 2 is actually supposed to be done before the sun went down. Right now, we're bringing in day 3 of Feast of Dedication. Tomorrow we should be caught up. We're gonna do another live tomorrow before the sun go down, Lord willing. So y'all gotta bear with us, man. We trying to make things happen. We're trying to stay in the spirit, you know, trying to do it as best as we can, you know. So we are actually a little bit behind, but have mercy on us, man. We're trying to get this thing going. So this is where we called it yesterday. First Maccabees 2 and 51. So we're gonna start from right here because we want to actually try and go into these counts. You know, kind of dissect it as much as we can. We might not go as deep as we really want to. Like I said, we're still at a strain for time. I know Aharon got to get out of here in 50 minutes. So we're gonna just jump into it.
Hey, we need to start at verse 49.
Okay, no problem. So first and foremost, we're gonna give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Hashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah, and without further ado. So like I thought someone was at my door.
What's up?
I thought someone was at my door. Okay, so reading from verse 49, it says, "Now when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, Now have pride and rebuke." Okay, someone is at my door.
Go ahead and handle that. I got it.
Okay,
Con. It's verse 49. It says, Now when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, Now hath pride and rebuke. Hold on. Now hath pride and rebuke gotten strength in the time of destruction and wrath of indignation. Verse 50. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. So Mattathias is he's drawn near death and he's trying to, kind of hype people up, if you want to give in a sense, right? But he's hyping them up in a righteous way, in a righteous manner. He's telling them, be willing to give your to give your life and be zealous for the law of the Most High God, right? For the covenant, because this is what men were going against in his time. Predominantly, men were going against the law. You got during this time, they wanted people to eat pork. During this time, you could sacrifice to idols. During this time, they wanted you to profess yourself a Greek. They wanted you to not be circumcised. You name it, anything under the sun contained in the law, statutes, and commandments, they wanted to go against it, right? So Mattathias is saying, don't do that. Be zealous for the law of God, right? I'm going to keep reading. It says, call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall you receive great honor in an everlasting name. And that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing in today's age. Whenever you get in a sticky situation, whenever you get in a pickle, whenever anything happens, always remember the acts of your forefathers. Got a quick precept. This is Sirach 2:10. It says, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? Right? That's a rhetorical question. I'm sorry, my son keep messing with my laptop. It's funny. But that's a rhetorical question, right? If you trusted on the Lord in the scriptures, they were found righteous, they were found right. They abode in his fear and they were not forsaken. They weren't despised, right? Mattathias is giving us a similar account. Okay, look at the generations of old. Call to acts or remember what your forefathers did,
right,
in their time, right? You got something?
Nah.
Okay, kind. It says, so shall you receive great honor in an everlasting name. And then it says, was not Abraham found faithful in temptation and it was imputed unto him for righteousness. So the first person he mentions is the base of our faith, Abraham, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people like to say we're under an Abrahamic faith, which they're not in a sense, they're not wrong for that. They're not wrong for that. Abraham was known as the friend of God.
I want to read through that real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna pull it up though. Work with me now. Wildin', he getting lit, huh?
Bro, he just funny, bro.
Okay, check this out. So, like I said, we are in a crunch for time, so we're moving kind of quick. Genesis chapter 22 and verse 1. When you read down, this is the account of when Abraham really proved his faith. This is as it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here am I. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac, whom thou lovest, Mind you, Abraham had a son before him, but the scripture says, thine only son whom thou lovest. He had Ishmael before this. It says, and get the land of Moriah and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took two of his young men with him and Isaac his son and clave the wood for the burnt offering and rose up and went into the place of which God had told him. Then on the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come unto you again. So if you don't understand what's going on yet, quick recap. The Most High said, take your son, thy only son, the one you love, and go kill him. So Abraham on a mission. He got to go do this. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb for a burnt offering? So Abraham is doing what the Lord commanded him. He getting ready to make an offering. But Isaac, he didn't really know where the lamb was. Whole time, he was the lamb that was offered up. Verse 8, and Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. Came to the place which God had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood. So look, he laid him on the altar. He started binding him, tying him up. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here am I. And he said, lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him, for now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast fulfilled thy son, thine only son for me. The Most High sent the angel to tell Abraham not to kill his son. And it was all to see if he was really going to abide in the fear of the Most High and keep the command and the charge that the Lord gave him. So that's really the meat of what that was going into. We can jump back into Maccabees.
Verse 53, First Maccabees 1 and chapter 2. You can find an account for Phineas because I got the one in Joseph. Verse 53, it says, Joseph in the time of his distress kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt. So in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt. What is this going into? So we got Genesis chapter 39 and verse 1. It says, and Moses was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had put into his hands. And it came to pass at the time that he made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. Verse 6, and he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. So right now we got a sticky situation. Right now we have a tough situation, right? Where Joseph is being blessed beyond measure, and he's serving, right? Joseph was sold into captivity under the Egyptians, and he's serving, And his master trusted him with everything so much that, Joseph was over the whole house. Next thing you know, the Egyptian, his wife come in. His wife come in and see Joseph's a goodly person. Joseph might have looked good. Our forefathers was probably mighty looking men, fair looking men. So she caught her eye upon him. Next thing you know, she come up to him and say, lie with me. Ain't no telling what manner of woman this in. I mean, what manner of woman this is, right? And in the book of Clement, it describes Joseph being in his prime. If you in your prime, meaning you're of age, men aren't. I'm gonna be honest. Men do not want to deny sex. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. That's a tough thing, brother. I mean, a sister just come right up to him, lie with me. That's a hard matter. Damn.
It's
Right
getting
now? What'd you say?
right now, like
Out of nowhere? What you? Damn, I can't get your name. I can't get your name first. What's going on? But the Egyptian's wife came up straight forward to Joseph and said, lie with me, right? Verse 8. But he refused and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master, what if not what is with me in the house? And he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee. So Joseph, the master hasn't kept anything from me except you. You the only thing I cannot touch. Even according to God, I cannot touch you. I'm gonna keep reading. Because thou art his wife, how then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Right? And it came to pass as she spake to Joseph day by day that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her. So she was pressing this man. Lay with me, Joseph. Lay with me, Joseph. Lay with me. Lay with me. She kind of messing with him. She probably touched his chest when he walked by. She probably touched his thigh when he walked by. He trying to do his job. And then you got her coming up, rubbing his thigh and giving him those eyes. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say those eyes. She
right.
kind of gave him those eyes like, it's yours whenever, Joe. She kind of on that kind of, it's yours whenever, Joe.
That's all.
She probably said that, right? I'm gonna keep reading. Let's see. Damn, where am I at? I think my son touched it. Okay, here we go. Verse 11. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men in the house therein. And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. So it got to the point where she gripped him tight and he had to flee. Because now it's getting to a point to where she's not playing. Like, bro, I want this. Come on. So now he has to flee. His garment is now left with her. And it came to pass when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, see, he hath brought in an Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me. It's like he came in unto me to lie with me. And I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass when he had heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. So basically, just to get the summary, Joseph denied this woman. He denied being in a great sin, in great wickedness. He denied adultery, right? Next thing you know, she ended up with his garment. She cried rape in today's standards. She cried rape. And later on in this story, Joseph got thrown in a prison. But even though Joseph was thrown into prison, God wasn't done with him. I encourage everybody to go read the story. Most High God was not done with Joseph, right? So after all that, Joseph, in the future, he was damn near considered a pharaoh. He was in rulership. He had rulership.
Yeah.
Right? He was up there. He was top. He was the number one guy. You had a problem, you talked to Joseph, right? But it's back to second Maccabees. I mean back to first Maccabees. First Maccabees 1, chapter 2, and verse 54. It says, Phineas, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood.
So Phineas, he was zealous. That is a priest. Now we're going to get the account on how he obtained this covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Right? To get mind you, we can't go into great detail over Joseph because that's chapters in the book of Genesis. We can't go over all of these in great extent, but just so you have a better understanding of this gravity and how mighty our forefathers was, and why Mattathias mentioned these brothers on his deathbed to his sons. He was encouraging them and strengthening them on this deathbed to be mighty like his forefathers. So let's see what this mighty forefather did. We're going to get down to the meat of it because we got to make haste. So I'm going to start at verse 6. Bro. All right. Numbers 25 and verse 6. Numbers 25 and verse 6. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Mind you, it's important to understand what's going on. The children of Israel are already in trouble. We're already in trouble. We're already in trouble. Why? He was going off into idolatry. We'll read verse 3. Israel joined themselves unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. That's why the children of Israel were weeping, making supplication and begging the Most High God for mercy. But then you have this knucklehead Israelite. He shows up with a Midianitish woman. These women are part of the reason why we were going off into idolatry. So now that we understand the whole gravity of the situation, let's keep reading. And when Phineas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. And he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust them both through. Thrust both of them through. The man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel. So you have the children of Israel already in trouble. And you show up with the woman or the women in these other nations. They're the reason, part of the reason why we got in trouble. Bro, you're a knucklehead. And this man got so upset and zealous for the Most High God's law. He killed that Israelite and he killed that Israelite. It said, and those that died in the plague were 24,000. It says 24,000. That is a lot of people that died in this plague. But Phineas, he was crazy. Now look at this. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Phineas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, have turned away my wrath from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Israel in my jealousy. Wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace, and he shall have it, and his seed after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for God and made an atonement for the children of Israel. So he was so zealous, he killed the Israelite for being disobedient unto God, because he was being a knucklehead, because he wasn't using his head. And he killed that woman too. And the Most High God, he counted it for righteousness. Am I saying go kill your brother whenever they do something bad? I'm not saying that. You're
right.
not going to get away with it how Phineas did. You're not. Got to understand the gravity of it. Brother's going off into idolatry, and he show up with this woman while we making supplication. It's not going down like that. We got to get him out of here. All right, where we at? We back in Maccabees. We moving in. Like I think we making good time.
God, hey, watch out, man. So, First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 54. It says, Slack it 55. It says, Jesus or Joshua for fulfilling the word was made a judge in Israel. I don't know a particular scripture on this. I just know it really entitles most of Joshua's life. If you want me to keep it a buck,
right. I'll grab this because man,
because
I think I had a precept, but uh give me a second.
yes, sir. Well, I'm gonna speak on this real quick because Joshua starts not starts. Well, yeah, he actually starts and goes into the book of Judges, right?
That's what I'm
Joshua,
trying to get to.
exactly. He kind of actually was the first, other than Moses, really kind of like the first judge over Israel, because mind you, we didn't have a king over that time during that time. So after Joshua passed, there were judges set up.
So
Just because he went hard, though, you know, he was
right.
a solid brother. He was mighty. Go ahead.
So before these two books were distinguished as two separate books, it was known for these books to be compiled as one. Joshua was in the book of Judges. He was one of the judges over Israel. So I'll read Judges chapter 1, verse 1. This is how the book of Judges starts off. Now, after the death of Joshua, it came to pass that the children of Israel asked the Lord, saying, who shall go up for us against the Canaanites first to fight against them? So this is the first verse in the book of Judges, and it mentions the death of Joshua. So it's literally the same time period. Joshua was around in the time of the Judges. He had just completed his life. He had just butchered a whole bunch of Canaanites and obtained the land for Israel. So it's in the same time frame. So whenever you read this in Maccabees, you got to understand that Yahushua fulfilling, well, it's either Yahushua in the Hebrew, it says, or Joshua. We know that these are transliterations for the word Joshua or Jesus. It says, Joshua for fulfilling the word was made a judge in Israel, because that's what he was. So we ain't gonna go too deep into that because we're gonna go in the rabbit hole. But
Kind.
let's keep moving.
Kind. It says, First Maccabees 2:56. It says, Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land. Right. So let's take a trip to Numbers. I think
14. It should be.
That's one I want to get the original. Is it 13?
13.
Numbers 13.
Okay.
Start at verse 26. If
You
you
want
can read it.
Numbers 14 and 36?
Numbers 13 and 26.
Okay. Numbers 13 and 26. It says, and they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel, into the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And told them and said, came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it.
So, Slaki, if you don't know what's going on, our people were sent out as spies to spy out the land of Canaan before it was ours, before we turned it into Israel. Right? Come on.
Verse 28. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there.
So, if you don't know about the children of Anak, these are giants. They're giants during that time, right? So our people are coming back saying, giving us a report, giving the people a report. The land is great, the land flows with milk and honey, so on and so forth. It says, but the people which dwell in that land, it's a very great people, it's a very great city, and we seen giants there. Come on.
Salakia, bear with me.
You good.
It says, the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses. He made everybody calm down and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are able to overcome them. But the men that went up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than us.
Kind. So if read the next verse real quick. Why not?
Okay, God. It says, and they brought up an evil report of which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through we have gone to search is the land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature.
So
And
kind they
let me finish it out.
yeah, finish it out so I can.
It says, and there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
So our people brought back an evil report, saying, nah, we can't go over there. We're not going to be able to fight them. They're giants. They're this. They're that. They kept bringing up all this stuff, and Caleb is trying to steal the people. Caleb like, yo, we can do it. We can overcome it, so on and so forth. And he's standing bold on the Lord, like, nigga, we got the Lord with us. Nigga, you didn't see what he just did to Egypt, and y'all scared about this. Like he said, we was gonna get the land of Canaan, but y'all are tripping about this, all right? So now let's go to Numbers 14 and 23.
Okay.
And read verse 24 as well. And this is the point.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 14, verse 23. Surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto the fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and had followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whither he went, and his seed shall possess it.
So, Khan, this is what Maccabees was talking about. It says Caleb for bearing witness, which means bearing a right witness before the congregation received the heritage of the land, whereas the rest died, right? Everybody died. Nobody made it out except Caleb and Joshua, right? Not even Moses. Moses didn't even make it to the land, right? He got to behold it. He got to see it, but only with his eyes. So, First Maccabees 1 and 2. I said 1 and 2. First Maccabees chapter 1. Damn, I'm tweaking. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 57. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom.
Yeah. I mean, that's this. I mean, if we teach this, bro, we're gonna be going into a whole bunch of chapters.
For real.
We're gonna be going into a whole bunch of chapters. Let me see if I can get a quick precept on it. Nah, I don't got no quick precept on it.
It ain't no quick precepts.
It ain't going how I wanted it to. It ain't gonna go how I want it. We're just gonna have to kind of talk about it.
For real.
All right. Well, I'll get into it. So we got young David on the scene. He mighty brother. He was chosen by Samuel the prophet, by the Most High God rather, but he was anointed by Samuel the prophet, right? While King Saul was on the throne, but everyone in Israel seen how King David, or not even King David, young David killed Goliath. So Saul kind of, was attached to David, and he loved David, and the people of Israel loved David. He was waxing mightier and mightier and mightier and mightier and mightier and mightier, fighting with lions, tussling with bears. David just was waxing mighty. It came to this point that Saul knew that David wasn't going to just be known as David. He was going to be known as King David. He was next up. And Saul began to hate him in his heart. So he tried to kill him a plethora of times, 7 times. But King David never tried to kill him, even though he was given many opportunities to kill him. But he loved him, and he knew that was the Lord's anointed. He was the first king that was actually elected on purpose over the children of Israel. So he would not lay his hand on Saul. He would not. But David, for being so merciful, like this verse say right here, he ended up possessing the throne of an everlasting kingdom. So there's always going to be someone from the seed line of David, who comes from David's loins, his nuts, for lack of better terms, that's going to be ruling over our people because of the mighty acts of King David. Ahran, did I miss any key points?
No, sir.
Khan,
And David received that because, if you'll be honest, not because, I'm sorry, but David was not the first king. The first king over Israel was Saul. Yeah, Saul. I almost got that mixed up with Samuel. And Saul, guess what? He was a Benjamite. Now through David, the Judites are the kings, right? Not camp banging, not slacking, not camp banging, not a tribe banging or nothing like that. That's just what it is. It's what the Lord set up, right? Now, First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 58. Elias or Elijah, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. Now, we had, as a matter of fact, the perfect place to go.
You're gonna go to Sirach, huh?
I'm definitely finna go to Sirach.
Yeah.
That's the perfect place to go.
Yeah,
all right.
We're on a crunch for time.
Right. Sirach 48:1. Then stood up Elijah, the prophet, as fire, and his word burned like a lamp, meaning he was zealous. He brought a sore famine upon them, and by his zeal he diminished their number. By the word of the Lord he shut up the heaven, and also 3 times brought down fire. O Elias, how wast thou honored in thy wondrous deeds, and who made glory like unto thee? Who didst raise up a dead man from his death, and his soul from the place of the dead? By the word of the Most High, who brought his kings to destruction, and honorable men from their bed, who heardest the rebuke of the Lord in Sinai and in Horeb, the judgment of vengeance, who anointeth kings to take revenge, and prophets to succeed after him, who was taken up in a whirlwind of fire and in a chariot of fiery horses, who was ordained for reproofs in their times, to pacify the wrath of the Lord's judgment before it break forth into fury, and to turn the heart of the father unto the son, and to restore the tribes of Jacob. So that's just a quick summary of just
what he did.
Few things he did. Elijah went hard, and he was taken up in a chariot. According to Christianity, it would be called raptured, right? Brother got raptured. Brother got translated. In the truth, we call it translated. Brother got translated. He just disappeared into the sky. And you said what?
He didn't die. He didn't see the grave.
Yeah, he didn't see corruption. Common men see corruption. He was uncommon.
All right. So now we have verse 59.
Yep.
Maccabees chapter 2. It says, Ananias, Azarias, and Misael, by believing, were saved out of the fire. We giving y'all he's giving his son some mighty, reputable, honorable men who did honorable things. And the next one we got it wouldn't be right to not mention Ananias, Azarias, and Misael.
Right.
So we gotta get the account. We're gonna run through it quick. Y'all gotta forgive us for how we gotta move through this quick. Lord willing, tomorrow we can get going early, and we don't have, a day. What is the word? A kind of chaotic day. Lord willing, we'll have everything mapped out, so we don't gotta rush the words of the Most High. So, anyways, verse 59, or actually jump to Daniel. That's the actual account. Look at Daniel. So you have Ananias, Azariah, and Misael. They were given Babylonian names. So just beware that. I'm going to read their Babylonian names in the book of Daniel. Why? Because they were captives. They were slaves under Nebuchadnezzar, and he was the king over Babylon. So here we are, Daniel 3 and 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's Ananias, Azarias, and Misael. They're also known as the 3 holy children. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. So, quick backstory. They're slaves. They're literally captives in this kingdom. And what Nebuchadnezzar is wanting them to do is bow down to their gods. He wanted them to forget about Yahweh, forget about the laws. He wanted them to forget about all of that and serve the gods that he had set up. But Ananias, the three holy children, they said, no. And we're not careful to say no. We're going to tell you exactly what it is. We're not serving none of your gods. We're not going into idolatry. And he said, if you want to throw us in that fiery furnace, the Most High God going to save us. Let's keep reading. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it would want to be heated. So he said, I'm going to burn y'all niggas alive, and I'm finna turn the heat all the way up 7 times more than it should be heated up. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were buried in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So we got to pause right there. The flames is pouring out of the furnace. You got Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego bounded in chains, shackled up in rope. They can't run. They finna burn to death. They looking at the furnace. It's hot. But the men that grabbed them up, they end up being consumed in the fire. They end up being consumed in the fire. So we got to keep reading. It says, woo, it's getting hot. It says, and these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery fire or furnace. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they end up falling into the furnace. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished or surprised. It says, and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. And he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. So they threw 3 men are supposed to be in there bound hand and foot. But when the king looked in the furnace, he seen 4 free men. 4 men. They're not bound. They're not chained up. They're not in ropes. He's seen 4 men just doing their thing in the fire, in the furnace. Man, if we had more time, we'll go read the song of the 3 holy children in the Apocrypha. And what was really going on in there, they was in there praising the Most High the whole time. You feel me? They in there praising the Most High the whole time. Y'all not hearing me. They said the 4th one, it looks like the Son of God in there. That's what he said. That's what Nebuchadnezzar said. It says, whoo, it says, then, did you want to get in there, Aharon?
No, sir. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was going to go to the next stuff. Go ahead. You got it.
Okay. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire. So he said, look, come out of there. We know that you servants of the Most High God. And then they stepped up out of the furnace, gritting for the Most High God. Man, I gotta read this next verse. It says, and the princes, governors, and the captains, and the king's counselors being gathered together saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power. So the fire of this furnace, it had no power against them. It said, nor was a hair on their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. So the fire didn't have no power. It didn't even burn a piece of their hair. It didn't burn their coats. They didn't even smell like fire or smoke. They was in there just cool. Because the angel of the Lord protected them in that fire. But now we're in First Maccabees 2 and verse 60.
God, can you read that for me?
Yes, it says Daniel for his innocency. I suck at this word. Daniel was innocent.
Right, innocency.
Innocency. Woo, that's a tricky one. It says, and because of that, he was delivered from the mouth of lions.
All right, Con. So I'm in a car. So can you go to Daniel chapter 6 and start at verse 4 for me?
Yes, sir.
Mind you, you got to understand, Daniel was living majority of his lifetime, he was living in captivity, right? At first, he was under the Babylonian captivity. Then he was translated over to the Persian and Mede captivity. Right now, what we're finna read is Daniel under the Persian and Mede captivity. So can you start at verse 4 whenever you're there?
Verse 4. It says, then the presidents and the princes sought to find the occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault. For as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault in him, found in him.
So Daniel was a righteous man. They could not find anything against him. They can't find nothing. He's not doing wrong anywhere, but they're trying to catch him slipping, right? They're trying to catch him slipping. They just hate him because Daniel was beloved by the king. The scriptures even speak about that. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Daniel was beloved of kings. If you want me to keep it 100 with you. Now, jump to verse 7.
All right, verse 7. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains, they consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions.
So anybody that's caught praying or anything, doing anything concerning their God, he shall be cast into the den of lions, right? So jump down to verse 11.
Verse 11. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. And then it says, then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Has thou not signed the decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not.
So they can't alter the law. Nor was the king under the persuasion that Daniel would break this law, right? Daniel, I believe it, I'm not 100% sure if it's in this chapter or not, but Daniel was described to make his prayer and supplication to the Most High 3 times a day. So they knew that they could get him. They knew that they could get Daniel at this law. This law was not originally here. They had made this law just to catch Daniel up because he was faithful unto the Most High God, right? So now the king is put in a predicament, and Daniel is put in a predicament, right? So jump down to verse 19.
Okay, verse 19. It says, then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions.
So the king went to the den of lions. Why? Because the king had love for Daniel. Not in a weird way, he just had love. That he liked Daniel. He was a beloved friend, right? So now the king, after a whole night, I believe that verse 18 says that the king had even fasted for Daniel. That's how much the king had loved Daniel. So the king arose early and went to the den of lions. Come on.
Verse 20. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is this, it says, is thy God whom thou servest continually able to deliver thee from the lions?
Hey,
Then said
King of the Persian
Daniel,
of Medes knew this. Come on.
then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God
Come on.
hath sent his angel and have shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt.
So Daniel was an innocent man, blameless according to the law. You could not find no fault in him. He was a righteous man. Therefore, the God would not slay him. The scriptures even speak about that. Who therefore perished being innocent. You don't die by being innocent. You die by breaking something, by being in sin. Daniel was an innocent man, right? And that's why he was able to escape the lion's mouth. Solomon even describes it. He says, the creature's strength gets abated towards the righteous, but his strength is increased towards the wicked. Later on, you'll see in this chapter, I'm not going to read it, but later on in this chapter, you'll see those men that threw Daniel into the lion's den, they themselves got put in the lion's den with their family, and the lion destroyed them utterly, right? But we can get back to that first Maccabees.
Khan, beautifully said. So first Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 61. And thus consider ye throughout all generations, or excuse me, all ages, none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Right? This is what he's saying on his deathbed to his sons. If you put your trust in the Most High God, you're not going to be overcome. You're not going to lose. Right? Let me grab a quick precept in Romans. Romans 8, verse 31. What shall we say then? Say to these things, if God be for us, who can be against us? If you got the Most High God on your side, I mean, you can't lose. It says, fear not the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms. So a sinful man, at the end of the day, his glory gonna be dung and worms. It says, today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into the dust, and his thought is come to nothing. Wherefore, ye, my sons, be valiant and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall ye obtain glory. So he said, be valiant, be mighty, be strong. It says, in the behalf of the law, because by the law, that's how you obtain glory from the Most High God. That's how you obtain glory in the eyes of men, by serving the Most High God. All of the people that I look up to, they serve the Most High God. If you look up to NBA Youngboy, and you look up to damn Kevin Gates, and you look up to damn Neil Armstrong, and you look up to damn, what's that, Elon Musk, you're not going to make it. The men that you look up to, they got to keep commandments of the Most High God valiantly. The women that you look up to, they got to serve their lords valiantly, mightily. They can't be feeble and weak when affliction come. So your role models, they gotta be the role models of the Most High God. They gotta be the people that obey God, hands down. If you got role models and this damn Cardi B, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it.
Hey, you damn sure not gonna make it, because God, it's a lot of traffic. Slovakia, but you damn sure not gonna make it. Reason why, I say this a lot. I repeat this a lot because it's actually powerful on the left hand side. Cardi B promotes she doesn't cook and she doesn't clean, but yet she still got a ring, right? And Offset exposed her. He exposed her. She does cook, she does clean, but guess what? That's what they push to the young girls.
Right.
That's the mindset they push to the young girls, because okay, she doesn't cook, she doesn't clean, but she got this ring by what? Shaking her ass, doing this, doing that, and the third, acting like a hoe. You name it, right? So that's off as hell. You don't want these entertainers to be your role models. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It never made sense to me how it literally never made sense how a person who plays basketball, I'm supposed to look for him for spiritual guidance now. How everybody looks up to these entertainers for guidance and this, that, and no, you're an entertainer. Entertain. This is not your office. Your office isn't to be a spiritual guide. Your office isn't to, come on, let's get real. You entertain people, right? But Salaki, go ahead.
Right, right. And this is why you can't look up to Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, Rihanna. You can't look up to them because they sellouts. And they tell their people lies. They will beat their people down and sing lies to their people just for money. That's a sellout. It don't matter how you look at it. They sold out. They sold out. They was bought out. You give her X amount of monies and she's going to destroy her people. That's a sellout. And we can say this about majority of the entertainers that we have. Most of them sold out. I'm gonna say 85% of them sold out. So this is Titus chapter 2, verse 3. It says, the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given too much wine, teachers of good things. So the women are supposed to be, especially the aged women, teacher of good things, not too much on wine. What else to say? They holy. It means they separate. It means when you look at a holy woman and you look at a worldly woman, you can see the difference easily. Holy means different or set apart. So if you look at a worldly woman and you put a holy woman right next to her, you should be able to see the difference. When she opens her mouth, you should be able to hear the difference. You see what I'm saying? It says that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. So the aged women are supposed to teach the younger women how to be sober, how to love their husbands, because these women nowadays, they don't know how to love their husbands. That's why you see a lot of women going from men to men to men. And the truth of it is they don't know how to keep a man. They don't. They wasn't taught those things. But you know what? Now we have that example that the Bible set forth, and you have to open up your mind and learn how to do those things. How are you calling yourself a wife or a woman or a bad bitch, and you don't know how to even keep a man? You're not a bad bitch. You know what? You are a bad bitch. That's what it is. What am I talking about? That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is. You're a
That's
bad
what it
dog.
is. That the scripture, you will actually see Christ say this. He called a woman a dog. We know what that means. When you read Sirach, the 25th chapter, it says, a shameless woman shall be counted as a dog. If a woman is shameless, meaning she don't care how the world sees her, she don't care if she's walking around naked, that means she's shameless. And she's supposed to be accounted as a dog according to the Bible, as a B word. The Bible is that real. It's getting on their head. I got to get to the point. It says to be discreet. Our women are supposed to be discreet. That means quiet. That means quiet. My wife said maybe a few months back, she was like, you never liked your women that way. And what she was referring to as, I like quiet women. I'm not into clamorous women who's loud and full of words. And the more you hear these worldly women talk, it's really grievous because what they're talking about is complete nonsense and madness. It says to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home. The elder women was supposed to teach the younger women how to stay their ass in the house. Rightfully so, because when these women ripping and running these streets, being out there in the world, they get used up and their value go down. Our women are so beat up. She would rather give you her virginity, give you her flowers, give you what's between her legs before she gives you money. What does that tell you? What is the understanding of that? That means that a woman places more value on money than herself. And our aged women were supposed to teach the women not to be like that. But it's not too late. Come back to the Most High God. Receive instructions. Be taught again. Be born again. It says, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands. These women don't obey their husbands. It says that the word of God be not blasphemed. Be not blasphemed. So, Salaki, I just went on the righteous rant. Let's finish out this chapter. Look at what he ends this with. He crazy.
Yeah,
Mattathias
you
is
are.
crazy. It says, as for Judas Maccabeus, he have been mighty and strong even from his youth up.
Wait,
Let him
wait. Did
be.
you read? Did you read verse 65?
I skipped it, Salakia. And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always. He shall be a father unto you. You got it out.
God, just to speak on Simon. Simon was a man of understanding. Simon was a wise man. He was a wise brother, right? Of course. I wholeheartedly believe all these brothers had hands, but of course you had some brothers that was colder with their hands, like Judas, who he about to go into. But this brother, this man, they didn't go off age. No, Simon, he's a man of understanding. Listen to him. Follow him. He says, he shall be as a father unto you. Listen to him. As you listen and respect me, listen and respect your brother Simon. But you got it.
That's mighty. This is what their dad is saying on their deathbed. Simon, he is going to be your dad now. Give ear unto him always. That's what it say. It says, as for Judas Maccabeus, he have been mighty and strong even from his youth up. Let him be your captain and fight the battle of the people. So Judas Maccabeus, he always been mighty and valiant. He always been strong. You can't catch a fair with him and win because he's just too mighty. The way he know his way around hand-to-hand combat. He knows how to grapple you. He know how to throw strikes and blows. He know his way around the sword. He know his way around the damn axe and the hammer. His name means hammer. Come on now, he's mighty. It said, let him fight the battle of the people. It says, take also unto you all those who observe the law and avenge ye the wrong of your people. So he said, go take vengeance on the things that they did against your people. Recompense fully the heathen and take heed to the commandments of the law. So he blessed them and was gathered to his fathers, and he died in the 146 years in the year 146 year, and his sons buried him in the sepulchre of his fathers at Molden, and all Israel made great lamentation for him. That's hot.
Yeah.
That's hot. Come on now. He said this on his deathbed.
He went hard.
Yes, he did. And he had 5 mighty sons. Come on.
5 mighty sons who were zealous for the law just as he.
Zealous for the words of the Most High God. Like, I'm hoping, I could only hope to do something as honorable as that.
Right?
Half as honorable. Shit, I'd take half of it.
I take a quarter half. I
I
take a pint of that spirit, man. Please.
Bro, they had so much spirit, bro. Outnumbered. They was making guerrilla warfare against their enemies. Recovering cities, recovering the altar, recovering the temple, cutting heathens down, wicked Israelites getting cut down. They trying to just do this because they want to serve the Most High God. They set the bar high, man. I'm glad it's that high. That's why we trying to do our best to serve the Most High, because that's an example how you serve the Most High God. That's a righteous family. Woo, that's hot, bro. That's hot. I ain't got nothing else though, man. I ain't got nothing else for tonight. We good for tonight. Hey, like I said, y'all gotta forgive us. We was running behind schedule. We're not even gonna let those kind of things take us out of the spirit, man. We got a whole feast day to celebrate. Y'all gotta forgive us for being late. I couldn't even put feast of dedication day 2. I had to put part 2 because it was after the sun went down. So we're actually in day 3. I know some people celebrate it differently on a different schedule, but we on day 3 of feast of dedication. This is the very beginning of day 3. So once I fall asleep and wake back up sometime tomorrow while the sun is up, We're gonna try and get another lesson in. We'll probably go over what Second Maccabees 6, what Eleazar.
Yes, sir. That's what I want to touch on.
Yeah. So, um, Lord willing, that's that falls through, and we can actually do that before the sun go down, and we can put feast of dedication day 3 and give
Right.
some bread to y'all, and just get in the spirit, man, because we know a lot of camps they so busy turning up. It's hard to do a lesson every single day. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's only day 2, and we like behind schedule because just hey, brothers got kids, brothers got wives, brothers got households they got to keep in order,
Brothers got jobs.
hey, demons got to get cut down. Things just come up. Life hits you. So, but we're going to definitely try and keep this thing going for 8 days. So y'all got to motivate us and be active in the chat. That's all I got though. Like, you got any precept you want to end with, or you want me to just go ahead and handle it?
Can you go to 2 Maccabees 6, start at 27, read 28?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna pull it up right here. I'm gonna need you to quote it again. Ooh.
Yeah, this is what we're gonna get into tomorrow. Very, very hot chapter. It's a lot of hot stuff in Maccabees, to be honest with you. It's a lot of, if you're in the war, you should read Maccabees, you know what I'm saying? Also, I forgot. I want to plug it again. Not really plug it because some Edomites made it. But Kings and Generals, they have a history channel. A history channel going over the Maccabees. Right? If you go to Kings and Generals and type in Maccabees, you should be able to find it. I'm telling you, if you want to know what's going on, watch that. It's pretty dope. But It's on you.
All right, they got a visual going, and they actually bringing out good information. So you want 2 Maccabees 6 and verse
27 and read 28 as well.
2 Maccabees 6, verse 27. Wherefore now, manfully changing this life, I show myself such as mine age requireth, and leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he lifts his foot.
Hey, we gonna get into, because that's kind of like a preview. It's kind of like, damn, what's going on right here? What do you mean? He went into the torment. The brother sound hard. He sound raw. Like, this is a righteous brother. Yeah, it's kind of like a preview. We're gonna get more into it tomorrow. Day 3, feast dedication. It's on you, Ak.
Khan. Hey, I just thought about one of the accounts I want to read in Maccabees, where the brother was getting chased by some Edomites. He tried to smoke himself, but he didn't hit the critical
Yep.
spot. Jumped out the window, ripped his bowels out. I'm telling you, bro.
Bro, don't spoil it, brother. He said jumped out the window, ripped his bowels out.
Bro, y'all gotta hear me out. He tried to smoke himself like 4 times. As he didn't want no heathens to damn torture him, man. We gotta get into it. Okay, so I did kind of give too much, but look, they don't know what's going on.
Right, they don't know what's going on. Don't nobody read Maccabees, bro.
They don't know where that's at.
Nobody knows what's going on.
Okay, I'm gonna grab this one. This is, we just read this, but I like it. This is 1 Maccabees 2, verse 64. It says, wherefore, ye my sons, be valiant and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for it shall ye, it says, for by it shall ye obtain glory. So be valiant, show yourselves men and mighty women in order, of course, behind your husbands. Got to throw that in there. We don't need women out here with swords and killing heathens and nothing. But that's how you obtain your glory, by obeying the Most High God. So, Aharon, if you don't got nothing else, I'm going to grab this last precept.
Khan, you got it, Ak.
Khan. Sirach chapter 43 and 30. Hey, man, Frodo, I appreciate y'all tuning in with us. I know we was moving quick. Some of them things needed to be slowed down, but Lord willing, y'all got some understanding. Lord willing, y'all kind of heat a little bit warmed up. Y'all spirits kind of warmed up. But But Khan. I seen a question in here. Yeah, David got so close to Saul that he cut a piece of his garment off. Yes, that's true. We got Mattathias. Okay, King. Okay, King. Khan, Shalom. Let's see. Yes, the Bible is definitely entertaining. Khan. So we're gonna go ahead and close out, man. We'll rock out tomorrow. Before the sun go down. That's Lord willing, of course. But yeah, Sirach chapter 43 and 30, it says, when you glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as you can, for even yet will he far exceed. And when you exalt him, put forth all your strength. Be not weary, because you can never go far enough. So you can never go too hard for the Most High God. You can never serve him too hard or too much. And if you can't just shout out to the Most High God around the people you're around, you gotta consider your circle. You might have to start removing people and add some righteous ones in there. But we're gonna give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah, Shalom.
Khan, shalom.